So with AI coming out there, the changes are happening more quickly. They're sometimes a little more complex, and it's always reverse engineering every time changes already happened before AI.
Expert in the house. Welcome to Right Media Group Chronicles. We hope you'll take away valuable insights while enjoying every moment of today's episode.
Welcome to the show. Today I'm joined with James Lajoie, co-founder of PSP Compass Solutions. James has built a marketing agency that focuses on people, service, and profit, helping small and mid-sized businesses grow with clear, authentic strategies. In this episode, we'll explore his journey, his approach to digital marketing, and his views on AI beyond the hype. James, can you start by sharing your story? What led you to start PSP Compass Solutions, and what's the mission behind it?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Business kind of got started with I had a business partner, and we were working in two other agencies before, and we noticed that even though we had the skill there, we had the technique and the strategy, it lacked the personable aspect to really help these business owners understand what marketing was for each one of their businesses and their service and their products. So we started this business to bridge that education gap. So we could still deliver any of the marketing services that they would need, but we really wanted them to understand what works for their business, what they actually needed, and kind of measure the different types of strategies they can go after that was specific to their audience, to their product, to their business. And as that changed, so does their marketing strategy change. So we really tried to focus on that consulting side, which was the education piece.
Okay, lovely to hear that. Yeah, I do hear education is kind of the way to go now. If you do want
Yeah.
to also prospect as well, it's the best kind of strategy out there, and you're also educating your audience at the same time. So it's great. So how did PSP Compass Solutions come to life, and what was your vision when you initially started it?
So as we transitioned out from some other companies, me and my business partner had some clients that were just, asked us, "Hey, what are we doing? What are you going to do next?" And from there, we kind of decided to start this, vision of, all right, why not build more of a consulting agency to really help these business owners, at least the ones that wanted to, understand more, learn more, and kind of build with that knowledge. So we kind of started with a couple different clients that just asked us to help them out, all different industries. There was no niche just because we had the relationship with the client, but there were, we had a moving company, mechanic, a lawyer, a bunch of different ones. So started from there and really just focused on each person, each business had a different strategy. So it was a lot of research on our end to figure out how do we market the different types of audiences since we didn't have a niche, and we can kind of template it out, but just, create a more customizable solution for each type of client. So it was a lot of learning and a lot of research from the beginning, but it worked out pretty well because some of the clients, I have two of the clients that have been with us all 6 years that we've had the company open. And
Wow, that's
yeah,
incredible. You don't hear that
different
often nowadays.
industries. I know, I know. It was different industries, but they've enjoyed and they've been pretty, they've let us know they've been pretty satisfied with the help we've been giving them. And as their business needs and, initiatives change, so did our strategy. So I'm just glad we were able to keep that up. And that's kind of my goal moving forward with them and new clients.
Yeah, that's definitely something to be proud of. In regards to a niche, you mentioned that obviously in the beginning you didn't have a niche. Do you currently have a niche, like a segment of the audience that you kind of like, yeah, I prefer to serve these people. This is what I'm best at.
Right. Yes, we do. We still accept people outside that niche, but that's all relationship based. My biggest thing is that conversation. Take the time to have the conversation beforehand before spending any money implementing any type of ad spend or organic SEO to really understand the business. And a lot of times, sometimes the business owners, they know their business and they can just tell you, and it's a real quick conversation. But a lot of times it's that education piece where the business owner needs help to communicate and express what they're looking for and what their business is at because they don't understand their audience, or they know their product and they've gotten really good at delivering a product, but they don't know who it's really good for and who they want to go after past that initial of, I've got a bag. It's good for travelers. All right, who else could use this bag? That's what we help them do. But the niche is medical practices and then private education sector. So charter schools,
Ooh.
daycares, private schools, and then medical practices. Me and my business partner ran a med spa for a little while. So we had a lot of med spas, and then we've done a couple orthodontists, dentists, and then quite a few chiropractors. So a lot of those medical and then a few outpatient surgery, like cosmetic surgery centers. But a lot of the medical practices are those high turnover, high services that are always doing, they're always doing services and trying to sell services every month. So like dentists is one of them. Chiropractors, everyone's getting an adjustment. They sell in packages, usually of 10 or 20. The more clients is patients that they have, the better their business grows.
No, yeah, completely understand. Because obviously, every business, especially even if you do have a niche that you're following or like a sub niche, that you're really, that's your audience, every business is going to be at a different journey. So I love that you actually do take the time to get to know your client, exactly their specific needs. So that's incredible. So
Yeah, I think that's the big part of it.
yeah. In our pre-chat, you said education is a big part of how you work with clients. Can you share why that's so important specifically to you?
Yeah, in short, it's educated decisions. So business owners, you're juggling a lot on your plate. As a business owner ourselves, we're juggling profit and loss, accounting, banking, sales, acquisition, vendor relations. So understanding and knowing your numbers are a big part of a successful business. And so is understanding and knowing your service, your product, and your audience. Who are you selling to? Who are you trying to go after? So that education piece, it helps us help the business owner when they're educated on their side of things, and we just bring in the expertise of placement, branding, how to get your brand and presence out there. That's what we can help with, but we really try to get those business owners to understand, like, it is your responsibility, it's your baby, so to speak, that you understand where you want to go with this more. You understand who this would help more than we would. We understand numbers, we may have some experiences, but you have the vision. So
Mhm.
it helps a lot on when I think about some clients that understood in and out their business and their product and their service, and they needed a way and help of, where do I put it? How do I get in front of these people specifically?
So I loved when you explained the meaning behind PSP Compass, helping clients find their true north. Can you expand on that for the audience?
Yeah, it turned into something that we say, oh, we're a bunch of outdoors. Me and my business partner were outdoorsy. We did a lot of mountain biking, hiking, stuff like that. But it really started from my time working in corporate with a logistics supply chain company. They had an internal motto it was something like the promise or something like that. But basically, it was really focusing on the relationship side of your customers, understanding what your customers need, what are their pain points, what are their goals, what are their initiatives, then understanding your numbers as a business, your goals, initiatives, and pain points as a business, and then bridging that gap. You have that conversation, you create that open communication between both. The customer feels satisfied in the end. You're happy as a company because you're not trying to figure things out and figure out what works for them or not. And then in the end of that, the result is you both make a profit, hopefully, and you both grow out of it. So people, service, profit in that order was kind of the basis of that. Finding your true north. And then, with some brainstorming, we figured, oh, what is this? It's like a compass for digital marketing. It's
Yeah.
great. So kind of put that together.
No, it's incredible. Clearly, you and your business partner have put a lot of time into coming up with this meaning and vision for the brand. So yeah, it's incredible, honestly.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So currently, what challenges do you see small and mid-sized businesses face most when it comes to marketing?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I
Yeah.
say primarily between you said small and mid-size, correct?
Small and mid-sized, yes.
Small and mid-size, I would say, is adaptability and then just keeping up with the changes in the digital marketing landscape. You have mom and dad, as I call it, in digital marketing. You got Google and Facebook that run the whole industry and landscape of how things show up, where you show up, how do you get your leads. So they are making changes all the time, as you well know, and anybody in this industry all knows. Google will make changes, Facebook will make changes. Sometimes they tell you, sometimes you're reverse engineering what those changes are. So I would say that's a big pain point that I see a lot, especially with small businesses. They're just getting into it. They're trying to focus on their business. They don't even have the resources to know, hey, where do I keep up with these changes? How do I find out? Podcast, SEO journal, SEO engine, they're all these major news outlets just for marketing. I would say that's one. And then client acquisition. It's always the big one. How do you get more clients so you could grow your business? And it's always a battle between budget, time, and then creatives. So if you
True.
got the creatives down, do you have enough budget to get in front of enough clients for your specific business and service to make that ROI so then you can grow it? Sometimes you're looking for more partners and referrals because you don't have enough budget. Then, you have a great summer or you have a great winter, depending how your business is. You'll have money. Then you need to figure out, where do I allocate that budget effectively so I get the most ROI of it before I run out again and have to get more cash flow capital.
Yeah, so there were a couple of interesting steps you just mentioned now. Did you say content, budget, and what was the third one?
It was budget, creative content, and then audience placement.
I see. No, very interesting. I can even take some of the notes for myself.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you have a checklist owners can use before hiring an agency. Can you walk us through the top two items on that?
Yeah, so I thought you were going to ask me for everyone. I'd have to go through that checklist again and
Right.
see it on hand. I would say the top two is online presence. Well, the top number one is online
Mm.
presence. Number one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of free directories and free results like Google My Business listing. Microsoft has Bing listings. Making sure that you're on those and that your NAP, what we call the name, address, phone number, your NAP information is the exact same way on all those directories. Even to a point where, I just make sure, I don't know if it's, extremely relevant now, but I know starting out, making sure even how you put a suite number, if you're in an office, whether you spell out suite, SUITE, or you put a hashtag, or some other people use like a dash and just a number, making sure how you put that name, that address and that address information, it's formatted the same way and it's all the same on all the directories. That would be number one, is making sure you utilize all the free tools that Google and Bing and all them offer you, because they want to show your business. They want to put you out there. But they also, if you don't want to spend the time to explain and list out exactly what you offer, what you do, so people searching can actually be given a good result, they're not gonna rank you very high either. So I would say that's number one. Number two, I always go back to knowing your audience. Relevant
Mhm.
information and specific information to your future audience or your current prospective clients to get your product and service in front of them is important now more than it ever was before, especially with AI. AI is taking over everything. Google has their Gemini basically coming up with search results. So the map pack is still there, but it's lower. The first thing that comes up is the AI summaries. So what you write on your website in terms of explaining a product or service, AI is crawling all of that. What you're putting on your website, the blogs you're putting on there, AI is turning specific search queries into results now. So before, Google had a hard time understanding, like, I am looking for, a leather bag that is travel ready with a suitcase holder versus I'm just looking for a leather bag. All right, what kind? You're
Mhm.
looking for a messenger bag, backpack. AI now can get very specific and show you very specific search results with those queries, with those searches. So I tell business owners, think about, if when you're going to go out to eat, if you're looking for something specific to eat, you want results that give you those specific types of options. Same thing you want to do with your business. Think about
Yeah.
your audience and what specific things they'll be looking for that are part of your product or service. And then you
Mhm.
want to put that online and make sure it's written somewhere on your website in a fashionable, easy to read type.
Yeah. So obviously, it's now easier for the consumer to be making their searches because they will get a very specific result. It's more harder for businesses now to stand out because they
Yeah,
got to be
it's
very
it's
specific.
harder just because the landscape changed, and this is part of the adaptability. But once you kind of wrap your head around it, it's actually easier. You don't have to create these general statements about your product or service and what you do and try to figure out, how do I incorporate everybody that would use this if they're not all in the same category. Now it's very specific. It's like, okay, James wants a leather messenger bag. Great. I'm just going to put in everything about this leather messenger bag and all the features and what it does and what it could be used for, because I know that James wants it.
So, in regards to AI, how do you see it as a tool for business?
Well, it definitely is going to make people less cognitive thinking, forward thinking at first, but I would say in a business, it helps a lot. We use it within our agency quite a bit. The way I tell my employees and contractors my, like, I guess, boundary or structure for using it is a tool to save you time doing the easy research, finding information, putting it all together, but you still need that human component to make conscious decisions and to understand, is this result really going to get us forward, or, is this other strategy kind of the best for right now? AI is really good with finding information. It's okay with reasoning. In my experience with marketing, it definitely lacks a reasoning, I would say decision making with reasoning, with human emotion. It does not have a human emotion. And marketing and businesses getting in front of your audience, creating a story, capturing their
Mhm.
attention, getting them to like you or want your product. That's all human emotion. AI cannot do
Mhm.
that. And if you rely on AI, it's just going to make it very general and very blank.
It can help you with the research, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Initially, to throw ideas as well. And if you're kind of stuck, if you have, let's say, blank pages, I mean, I heard it's a real thing, especially for authors, anything else. So to come up with ideas and kind of see that different perspective, it's brilliant. Personal use as well. But you're right, you still need that human touch to kind of execute and perform the whole strategy that you want.
Yep. A great way we use it is for anybody that's building a website. When we have some of those business owners that, hey, here's all the stuff I'm thinking, and it's all over the board just because it's all the ideas flooding. I tell them I get them on ChatGPT as part of our form submission. And I tell them, hey, spend as much time as you want on there or need and put all your ideas on there and then send us back the overview or synopsis of what those ideas were that ChatGPT put together for you. And we take that and then we create their story, their about section, and we start creating pages from there.
So obviously, we covered that your agency highlights people, service, and profit as its foundation. How do you turn those values into actual social content that resonates and gets engagement?
Yeah, that's some brainstorming and creativeness. I am not super creative, so I found some people to help me be creative. But in terms of turning them into social content, it's bite-sized pieces. Think about, I always tell people it's like movie trailers. Think about small pieces of content that build a story. So we've created different stories about, here's what we do with people. Here's some campaigns that we created, or here's a feeling that you had being frustrated with your marketing. Turn those into like 10, 15-second clips, or even the non-video post, mix them in together in your strategy. I would definitely utilize everything. Video is the number one converting. I don't know about anymore. I think it's number one converting, but now the content is a lot more relevant. But I still wouldn't leave out just the regular posts that come in that you put in Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn and then add those in with your video. Creating bite-sized content is just put together the whole story and then cut it into 5 or 10 pieces and then
Hmm.
create content based on that and then create a schedule.
Yeah, I think now is the time for short form content like reels, shorts, because it's the attention span of people, isn't it? It's just this constant
Coming back
scroll.
around.
You've got to grab the attention, and that's where the short form content really comes in.
Yep, I agree. Before, I remember when YouTube came out, it was all about long form content because it was new and everybody was watching it. Now we're kind of repeating the cycle and going back to the short form content because everybody's attention is being pulled in 5 different directions. I've noticed that even with text messages and email. Email marketing used to be the best thing, SMS marketing. Now it's like, all right, how do we get someone's attention off their phone, off their email? Because I get 30 emails a day. I get 7 text messages every hour from all different directions. So it's funny. I always explain to business owners, like, marketing is always changing. You have to be
Hmm.
adaptable and flexible because what worked 1 year, 5 years later won't, but it'll come back around 10 years later just because of the cycle of how it goes.
Yeah, I wonder where AI fits into that as well, because that's a current trend, isn't it?
AI is going to change it up a little bit. I'm
Really?
curious. I've been seeing a lot of changes, but I'm definitely excited and curious to see how it's going to change it long term, 10 years from now.
Would you be able to share a recent success story where PSP Compass helped a client grow?
Yeah. So worked with a home services company that did
Hmm.
some flooring. We were able to put a marketing strategy together that included paid ads, and especially with something like that, organic marketing. So SEO, content creation, creatives, and then posting that out on a schedule. Did that for about a year, and we saw about a 37% increase in leads organically. So a lot more people by the end were finding them through search results. And then the ads brought us it was good 9% conversion rate on what we were spending in an ROI and what we were doing. So, and that was through like Google ads, Meta ads. It was a lot of different work in the background, a lot of trial and error. The first 3 months, you got to figure out what works, figure out what doesn't,
Mm.
and then also explain that to the client, because the client's spending the money. They get scared. So you got to tell them and say, hey, here's our stopgap. Here's our boundary and our point. We won't spend any more than that, but here's what we need to really figure out and hone in on your audience and that ROI. So it was a lot of fun. It was enjoyable in the end, even though it was a lot of work and stressful in the beginning.
Yeah, of course. So you did get the results you wanted at the
Yeah.
end.
They were happy.
Brilliant.
We were happy. Everybody was
That's the
happy
main
in the
thing,
end.
isn't it?
Exactly.
So in our pre-call, you said you wanted clients involved in the journey, not just hands off. Would you be able to give me an example of how that collaboration made a difference?
Okay, so we did a marketing campaign for a very high-end development that was built on a golf course. These clients were super involved. First meeting out the gate, discovery call, they came with us with already their research data, who they're going after in this area, the type of homeowners, their price point. They had homes that were already built, and we're talking like multi-million dollar, multi-million pound homes, and then lots where people can go and custom build it. They came to us with everything all set. And so our startup time, instead of usually 2 or 3 weeks it would take for us to do the research, the keyword research, create the ads, create the organic presence, it took us about a week to get started.
Oh.
And they said they wanted to go and hot to trot because they had a full, I think, 14 months of budget before they would either sell out or before the golf course. There was some type of timeline on there. So they wanted to go right away. I told the guy the same thing. It's like, hey, however much you're involved with us is how fast we can go. And he was like, okay, very short. I didn't think he was going to get back to us, but within a week, two of his employees got back to us with all this data, all this info that all we had to do was the keyword research, put the strategy together. But while we were doing all that, we had built everything because we had all the information from them. And
Mm.
he knew
Mm.
exactly who he wanted to go after. He just needed to refine it a little bit, and he needed to find out what channels and what strategy was the best to go after them. That's where, go ahead.
It makes your life so much easier as well as a marketer, isn't it?
It makes it more successful because in the end, he knew exactly with this golf course, with the types of home of here's who we want. Who am I missing? Fill in the gaps of who am I missing, but we already have a direction. And that's kind of the key there. When the business owner knows their business, their product, their service, their audience, they have intentional direction where it makes it so much more efficient. They're not wasting time deciding or trying to figure it out. So for us, we can just come in like a friend helping you, do your lawn, and you already know exactly how it's going to be done. They can get right to it.
Unfortunately, I have heard many stories in the marketing industry. Some of the client stories, they don't end up being a great relationship, but part of that
Yeah.
reason is because there isn't that communication, or providing that data that is required in order to have a good campaign. So it's unfortunate, but it does happen.
It's happened with us. It was a learning curve with us to understand that you can't win every client, and you're going to have some clients that are always going to look to blame you as a marketer as why they're not growing, which, you know what? It's part of the industry. But I learned early on that, if I work on the communication part to at least try to create that with them, I did my part as the expert per se, to really try to be successful and grow this. But in the end, I look at it's the client's business, whatever they want to do with it. It's what they want to do. I'm just there to give them my expertise and help as best I can.
Yeah, you can only do your best, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, in regards to some strengths and struggles, what's the biggest challenge PSP Compass is facing at the moment, if any?
Ooh, biggest challenge I would say is keeping up fast enough with the changes that are happening. So with AI coming out there, the changes are happening more quickly. They're sometimes a little more complex, and it's always reverse engineering every time changes already happened before AI. Sometimes to figure out, okay, how did this change how this keyword shows up? How did this change? Google makes an algorithm change and you see all your traffic go down on your website. It's like, okay, what part of that algorithm changed what was already working well? So that was already kind of like a challenge that we had to keep up with. But, you read enough blogs, you keep up with other people, other friends in the industry that do, have marketing companies or do kind of similar. You guys all talk, we all talk, and we can kind of figure it out. With AI, there's a lot more. I don't know, man. I don't even understand how that happened. AI just did it. So it's a lot more research, a lot more digging in, and a lot more. It's understanding now. It's like understanding a whole nother language now of how does the AI algorithm work? How does it decide things and change things on its own? So that would be the biggest challenge there that I would say right now. Along with, we're always trying to grow. So getting more clients, referrals, in a very competitive market where there's a lot of marketing agencies where some of them, will scorch earth and not that great, but there's a lot of good ones there too. So it's like no hard feelings to them. There's a lot of business to go around, but it's finding them sometimes while
Mhm.
dealing with figuring out AI and how that all works and how that affects everything.
So obviously you have started PSP Compass in March 2019. So far, what would you say is the most successful year you've had with the agency and why?
Post-COVID, year and a half after post-COVID, yes, because I thought COVID was going to slow us down, to be honest. So did my business partner. What we came to find out right when COVID happened, we started getting way busier. And what we've talking all these years, it's because everybody that wanted to expand their business, start a business, or, get bigger with, especially like the small mom and pop businesses that were just like a hobby, they all had time now. They all had time to put into it. They all had all these ideas and these visions of what they wanted to do with it. And they needed marketers, web developers, SEO people to be like, okay, how do we get this going now that I got the time to look into it? So 2023, I would say, was our best year just because of that tail end of it. We had a lot of people. We were the busiest we could be. We had a lot of people still at the end of it that, were still kind of in work, kind of out work. Everybody was working remote, which was a big one. I know this past year, everybody started having to go in the office. Past 2 years, I guess, had to start going in the office. So people have less time now, but not horrible. It's just about looking in different places. Now we're kind of focusing and shifting towards more businesses that need that on an ongoing basis. But yeah, I'd say post-COVID 2023, best year.
That's quite interesting. I would think like business would be blooming down rather than, increasing in COVID times.
Yeah, and maybe it was just for us. I know there was a couple other guys that were marketing that were good, but they all had that, consultative approach to marketing. So they were very helpful and explanatory towards their clients. So I've noticed that goes a long way with clients when, don't hold me to this, but you can mess up a campaign with a client. But if you're open and honest with the client and tell them, hey, here's what we were trying to do, here was the experiment, most of the time the client just wants to be, communicated with their business of, okay, why didn't this work? They don't know how to make it work. They just want somebody that's going to communicate with them and be honest and upfront with them of why it didn't work or why something is working. At the
Hmm.
same time, you want to balance overall, having somebody that's going to try to figure it out for you, not just, hey, give me your retainer every month and I'll just put you on ads. Well, how does that work? Well, I'm not going to explain it. It's like, well, sometimes you want to explain it if you want to save the client. Even if they don't understand all of it, break it down to where they do understand. Hey, we went after, 36 keywords and here was the reason and here was what we were trying to go after. Here's what we found out didn't work. So we're going to try this now. Most of the time I've realized the retention part, it's just about communicating to them, explaining to them what's going on as best you can.
Yeah, I've seen that happen in the industry as well. It's like some marketing agencies are scared to give away of their
Yeah.
strategy in a way. But it's like, what is that business owner going to do? Is he going to go and implement himself? It's not likely, is it? So it's like if you're upfront and you build trust with that client, I think you'll go much more farther than no, I can't say, like unless you pay me,
Right.
I can't give this away.
Right. Right. It's like a doctor or a pilot. Do they explain to us what they're doing and how it's done? Yeah. Are we going to go do it? Nope.
Yeah.
Still going to pay for flights.
Exactly. So, if you had one piece of advice for business owners about marketing today, what would it be?
Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. The biggest thing here is learn to be adaptable. It's going to be very stressful at first for anybody starting and anybody in the industry. It's just, yeah, be adaptable, keep learning, always look for information. I've noticed in marketing, marketing, especially digital marketing, is not talked about like normal news, like trends are. So like social media marketing, influence marketing, what's going on, what's being trendy. That's you see that a lot, whether you're on social media, talking to friends. So with digital marketing in the back end, it's look for that information. Always try to be learning, do the Google free certifications or the Microsoft ones or whatever ones you can find. Even if you pay for them, they're still pretty good because you find that knowledge by always looking, but you don't know specifically where to look a lot of times. It's more of you go to a networking event or you do a certification and be like, oh, didn't know that. That one little piece makes a difference, what you've been looking for. So that would be one big piece of
Yeah.
advice.
Brilliant. A lot of insights there. So, James, thank you for joining me and sharing your story. I really liked hearing about your focus on authenticity and your balanced take on AI in marketing. So, if people were interested to find you in regards to your services or get in touch with you, where would they be able to locate you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. And to find me, you can find me on LinkedIn. Be my first name, last name, James Lajoie, Lajoie on LinkedIn, or you can reach out to me directly via email. It's james@pspcompass.com.
The links will be posted below this video anyway, so people can find you easily.
Perfect. Love any questions. There's no dumb question, and love helping people. So reach
Yeah,
out if
love it.
anybody needs help.
Thank you, James.
Thank you a lot. Appreciate it.